And even all the hard times we had to lose houses, lose cars, be moving here or there and everywhere, I always told him, I'm not worried about it. We'll figure it out. Like, I know he's going to figure it out. And he still does that. That's something I won't have to worry about for me or for our kid forever.
I don't know. I think I just was upset because Andrew was going out with her girlfriends a little too much, throughout the week, things like that. And I kind of got a little resentful to that. So I think during that period of time, there was definitely, the intimacy wasn't there as much as it should have probably been.
Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. And this is their podcast, Couples Synergy.
Welcome back to another episode of Couples Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Check us out online at couplessynergy.com, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. And now on to Couples Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experiences with working with thousands of couples for over 15 years.
Every day we get to hear intimate details about a couple's celebrations, disappointments, and everyday challenges. We've often wished these stories were shared because we know we are more similar than different. And so we've created not only an avenue where you can hear about people's intimate lives, but an atmosphere where people come over to our home pub, pour a drink, and share their stories.
People like today's guests, Steve and Angie. How are you guys?
Great. Good morning.
Good morning. You guys are good morning. What time is it over there in Cali?
8:30.
8:30 in the morning. Yes. And it is 10:30 over here in Chicago. And we're doing this remote, and thanks for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you guys being on the podcast. Steve, we've been friends since first grade, I think, right?
Yep.
It's been quite a ride.
It has, especially the altar boy days.
Well, before we get, I think today we're going to be talking about the topic of starting a family later on in life. Because you guys are expecting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before we get into your story, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? How old are you? What do you do for a living? And how long have you been together?
Okay, 40. Or wait, no, I'm 39. I'll be 40 soon. And we've been together for 17 years, married 13, and then we own a restaurant together, a Chicago pizza pub. So we get the joys of working together.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been working together?
8 years.
Yep.
8 years.
About 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. We talked about this on other podcasts. Other couples ask us, like, how could you work with your spouse? Yeah, we work together. We know the joys of that, and some of the downsides of it too. Steve, what's your age?
Yeah, so I'm 47. Obviously, we own a restaurant, and then just other side ventures I do, real estate and things like that. Yeah, so Angie and I working 8 years together. Yeah, it definitely does have its moments.
Can you guys tell us the story of how you met?
I was actually best friends. He's one of 12. So I was best friends with his younger sister. And I met her when I was 12, actually. And then I went to Steve's first wedding when I was a little kid. I met him through the family.
and actually, we danced too.
Yeah. Danced with him.
How old were you guys? How old were you guys then?
I was at that time in my late 20s, 26 or 27. And
I was 20.
Angie was 20.
Little baby.
And I remember right after that, it's kind of funny, but it's very true. I told my friend at the time, and I said, hey, after I got married to the first wife, I said, oh my gosh, I screwed up. Ange was the one.
On your wedding day?
Well, the next day, I told my friend.
The next day?
I screwed up. I royally screwed up. I married the wrong woman.
Wow.
Because Ange is the one I really wanted to marry. And he goes, well, dude, good luck with that.
How long did that marriage last?
It was 2 years, and that was it. Real short.
So did you meet her on your wedding day?
No, I've known the family since I was 12. So I've been to like every wedding, every funeral, every family function anyways. And he was always kind of around. And
yeah, I mean, I think I knew Ange. Yeah, I think at one time Ange drove me from the airport, and she was like 17, but
young.
she was just like a little dorky kid with a lot of junk in her backseat in her Dodge Duster. So I always thought, God, why does my sister hang out with this girl? I mean, her car smelled like a gym locker. And,
but
so
she was the one.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Then when, I think like then I realized, when she got older and I saw her at my wedding, then I was like, wow,
she cool.
Did you have any feelings that day, Ange?
Yeah, I mean, I had a crush on him when I got older. Like when we were little, I didn't really. It was just like it's Melissa's stupid older brother, whatever. But yeah, I always thought he was really good looking and awesome and cool. So then it worked out when his sister and I went to college together. She graduated a year ahead of me. He came out for it. So he got rid of the wife. I got rid of the boyfriend, and we started dating till I graduated.
So tell us the story about that. Did you guys go on a date or just hook up?
I think we were stoned at the graduation. We started hooking up. It was honest to God.
Yeah,
I think
that is exactly what happened.
Yeah. We were partying for the graduation, and they were like, "Oh,
but no, we didn't like hook up that day. It was
the next day."
Well, okay, whatever. Small details, but
I did do the breakup.
Hours later, right?
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
So were you guys living in the same state at the time?
Oh, I was in Flagstaff finishing college, and he was in Carlsbad, California.
Yeah, so I would drive Friday. I'd get off work. I was building houses. So we were on the construction site, and I would leave early, like 2:30 on a Friday afternoon, and drive up to Flagstaff. That's like a 6.5 hour drive.
Wow.
I'd drive up there Friday. And this went on for like, I don't know,
Just a year.
A year, yeah. I would drive as fast as I could and it's up in the mountains. So you got to like go up this elevation. It's kind of crazy. And go up there Friday and then come home Sunday afternoon.
It would have been nice if you had your plane then.
But yeah, yeah, I know that would have been really convenient. So I just drove and I'll never forget one time I was driving. I was hauling in to get up there, and I'm in a big truck, diesel truck, pedal to the metal. I get pulled over by a cop, and I'm like, oh, give me a ticket. And he goes, well, what's your hurry, son? And I told him, I'm going up to my girlfriend. I see her every weekend. He goes, all right, just keep going. And let me go. It was just to be honest, he let me go. So it was really nice.
So
that went on for a while.
For a year, every weekend you were doing that.
Yeah, sometimes we'd miss a weekend or two, but it was like every weekend or every other weekend. Mm-hmm. We would see each other.
So what was it about the other person that you fell in love with?
I think her personality was just real casual and funny and not very emotional too, which I like.
She has no feelings. I would say the same thing too. I could say whatever I wanted, and I felt like I was going to be taken care of too, which is nice. I thought he was funny. Now I'm like, oh my God, I've heard that joke 1,000 times.
So you guys are dating for how long before you start to figure out logistics and all that? For
when we were dating. So I think a year and a half or 2 years, or when did you move out?
I moved out the day I graduated, a year to a year, because we started dating at his sister's graduation. A year later, I graduated and moved out.
You moved in with each other?
Yeah, in Carlsbad until the fake out happened. He's like, oh, yeah, move in with me. Live in Carlsbad, 7 minutes from the ocean. I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. Like, I don't live by the ocean. And then he's like, 6 months later, just kidding, we're moving to Wildemar, which is inland, in the middle of nowhere, farm country. There's nothing out there. It's all dirt. And he's like, this is our new home now. I'm like, wait, what?
But
like an hour and a half from
the good
everything.
news, it had a wood-burning stove in the house.
And a ramshackle barn.
And the laundry room was in the barn.
With a blue light.
And
They had to crank on. And it was flickered.
she thought it was a bait and switch.
It was a bait and switch.
Because, this nice...
False advertising.
lured her in with the nice beach house. And then, it was like 2 weeks before she was moving out here. I had closed on this ranch. It was a watermelon ranch. And that was what I wound up developing it and then building us a custom home, which was really nice. So it all worked out.
Did you keep the stove?
But she was cool. She wanted the laundry room moved out of the barn.
That was my one demand.
Yeah, she did put her down with that.
Not going in the ramshackle barn with the blue light and ice to do my laundry. Not happening.
Did you keep the watermelons?
By the time we got the ranch, it was all the crops were already taken down. So then, about a year later, we living in the ranch house, we started building around it. And then Ange got her life back.
And her laundry room.
In the laundry, yeah.
But it was a little challenging, that period of time because, living in a rural town and people weren't really happy with our development and there was a lot of opposition. And so we had, it was tough, and early on, she hung in there, she didn't give me any serious trouble with doing that. And then at the end of the day, it paid off. So, and then she saw, I think, okay, this is why we're doing what we're doing, take those sacrifices. But
was that your test to see if she could follow your crazy dreams?
I know.
She's been following them ever since.
I know.
Just hanging out.
I know.
How long was it until you guys got engaged?
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Because we were probably 4 years till we got married then. Because 17 and 13.
So tell us the story of your engagement.
The actual day was just, I said, hey, let's take a trip to the beach, and we're going to go out to dinner.
Another bait and switch.
Yeah. And she just thought it was just for a cool car ride because I just bought a little roadster car.
This little Viper.
And so we take her down to La Jolla and she just thinks, oh, he's just taking me down, drive the car and everything. But then when we set her up we were overlooking the sunset on the cliffs of La Jolla. And then I proposed to her right then. I think she was surprised. I'm almost positive.
How did you decide then that was the time?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I was jaded from my last marriage. So I just was more along the lines of, why even be married? What's the purpose kind of thing? And, then over time, those feelings faded or those thoughts faded. And then I thought, well, I want to be married to this girl. She's the right one. And this is a true relationship, unlike the other one where I felt almost forced into that marriage. And Ange never pressured me, never even asked about it, never even mentioned it. And so it was all me to make that decision. I felt really good about that because I know what it was like in the past in dealing with the pressures and almost like the commitment without wanting it. And Ange never did that. And so, so as far as the timing, I don't know why it took me 3 or 4 years to figure it out, to get married again, but I did it and I'm glad. And, I wish I did it sooner probably, but I don't regret, the timing or anything of that, we had a really good wedding and it was, we didn't get in debt because of it. So it was financial stability helped out too, in that time.
At that time, Ange, were you feeling that pressure internally?
No, not really. I mean, a lot of people bug you, say when you're going to get married.
Yeah.
And it does, just like same with then kid questions come after that too, but not really. I mean, we were living together and just felt like we were married anyways. I mean, we were committed to each other. We weren't going off doing anything. I mean, we were building houses and I was teaching and it wasn't a big deal to me, but I was glad we did it. I had a great time at our wedding. It was awesome. So yeah, it's fun.
So speaking of children, after you guys get married, it's pretty natural for families to kind of ask when you guys are going to have children. Is that something that, did you guys have plans of having children?
I mean, we talked about it and then probably 9 or 10 years ago, right before we opened Rosati's, actually. Like when we were training in Arizona, right before we left for that, we had tried 3 rounds of insemination and they didn't work out. And so, thank God, because it would have been crazy. But we were told that we couldn't have kids that way. We'd have to do in vitro. And we're like, well, screw that. We're not going to pay that much. We're over it. We'll just travel and hang out and retire. And I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, I think at that point, I thought, because it was a little frustrating. And I know, when you get those results, oh, you're not pregnant, or, Angie's not pregnant. It's just a letdown, emotionally, physically for her, because all the hormone injections and all that. It's a process. It's not just like 1 month. It takes several months for these cycles. So after that, we're like, the only thought that we had was just some positive light, was just, okay, let's just commit to traveling and live in a, just this single or non-kid life, 2 income, no kid kind of thing. And let's just focus on that. And so we just started doing that. Every year we'd pick a destination and start to, research it. And it takes a few months to figure it all out. And then you go on these trips and it's pretty cool. So we were settling into that lifestyle for the past several years and really just enjoying it. So this whole thing with the baby is it's just blowing our minds. I still can't believe it, and the
me
kids
too. And I can feel her inside me and I still am like him.
Yeah. Very, very weird feeling. I was putting a box of little clothes, shoes, and girls' stuff in my trunk of my car yesterday, and I took a picture of it because I'm like, this is so weird. I've never had any kid stuff in my car. I'm 47 years old, and I'm putting a box of little girls' shoes and dresses in there. And it was just it really hit me yesterday.
I think we were doing the math last night. What did we say?
He'll be when our son's 20. So when your daughter's 20, you'll be how old?
I'll be 60.
67 years old.
We've done the math. I already said when she graduates high school, I'm going to have to roll his little wheelchair into the gymnasium. He's going to be like, where am I?
Where am I?
I'm going to wipe with his drool. Changing to pens. I don't know. To wheel him out in the middle of the ceremony. Yeah, we've done the math, guys.
Yeah, sure you have.
Well aware of the situation.
So how did you guys find out you're pregnant?
Well, Ange found out on her own she wasn't feeling good, and she went to the doctor.
Were you totally clueless, or did you have an idea?
I honestly, we've never used protection in the 17 years we've been together ever. And, then we were told that wouldn't happen naturally. So we're like, screw it, whatever, and we never thought about it. So yeah, super shocked, where I actually did the test at work and I was in the office and I couldn't believe it. So I grabbed him. I'm like, Steve, get in here. He's like, wait, what? And I'm like, get in here. And I shut the door and I showed him the stick thing, and he said he's never seen my face that white before.
She looked, I thought she was dying or something.
Felt like it.
I was excited. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
It was just like a miracle, because how could that happen? 17 years and then even trying to do it. And so I couldn't believe it. I wanted to go run in the bar and buy drinks for everybody. And Anne just hold me back. No, it's too early. I'm going to hand out cigars. I was so excited. And she's like, no, we're not having it. She was serious.
I had to do a mental shift big time. I was not happy.
I could imagine. I mean, that's just a complete shift. You guys have kind of settled into this life of, traveling and business and being just together, just the two of you. But then now you have to, the adjustment is having a family, right?
Yeah.
And so what kind of adjustments have you had to make?
One, I had to realize that that's really happening. That took a few months. So I'm good now. I'm actually really excited. I'm excited for her to get here and see her and hang out. And I'm hoping, and we're going to try our best to raise a good kid. But some adjustments besides mentally shifting everything in my brain, getting a room ready. We did that. And then I had to buy a mom car the other day.
Yeah.
So everyone's telling us the little Lexus little car was going to be a pain in the ass. So I don't know, whatever. So we went and got one, and I think it'll pay off. It's nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
But that is like for me. I mean, I traded my sports car in for that SUV. You know, like that was kind of a reality for me. Like it's not about me anymore. You know,
if you had a child sooner, you would have had to get a van.
Yeah, right. There were no SUVs. Yeah, right. I would have had the Dodge van. Well, you know, and that's sort of like, I think it's all like hitting, and I don't know, those are just tangible objects that like we're doing, but it's still, for me, it's putting it's shifting my mind to where I have to start thinking that way, you know, because it's 47 years of just doing your own thing and not thinking about really anybody but maybe a girlfriend or a spouse, you know, from time to time. The kid thing.
Wait.
Sorry. You have to, the wrong thing.
Yeah. You have to.
Wait a minute. What the hell?
Wait, there's a girlfriend too?
I think the dating is going to be more of a full-time job, it sounds like. And that's where like I'm really trying to focus on that mentally.
Did I tell you, Steve, my Mustang, I bought it from someone kind of going through the same situation.
Is that right?
Oh my God.
Did he cry?
Driving away, I look in the rear view. He's just staring, watching the Mustang.
Can I come visit?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
So this shift is a huge one for you guys. And, you know, what kind of response have you gotten from family? I imagine they're all happy, but, you know, were they shocked too?
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah. Massive shock.
Yeah. It is really this whole thing, you know, because everyone knows us and our lifestyle, and then they see this, you know, I imagine the conversations they're having at the dinner table about our situation, you know. You know, they're probably like, oh God, good luck with that kid. You know?
She's gonna be crazy. She's a combo of the two of us. We're like screwed big time.
I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of fun together, traveling as a family.
So.
Yeah,
I think so.
So what kind of adjustments have you had to make as far as career and your business? And I know you had, you know, several ideas and things, you know, prior to finding this out. Yeah.
I mean, right now, I think our shift was just to really get more help in the business. And we're kind of we are taking a step back from, you know, the front show of operations and letting more people delegate and giving them more responsibility so we can kind of step away. As we know, once this baby comes, it's going to be challenging to be here, there, and everywhere. So we're just really taking a lot of staff that have been with us for years and just promoting them, and just instead of hiring new, just kind of bringing them up. And it's been working out really good. I've been able to pull away quite a bit, and same with Ange. So slowly but surely, I think, you know, we'll be at a good position, and especially in a few more months, we'll even be in a better position. So that's one thing that I think he's going to help. You know, when the baby comes, it's going to take a village.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear your diaper stories.
Yeah, I can't wait either. We'll have to do a complete episode on that.
Oh my God.
So how do you guys deal with conflict?
Ange, go ahead.
Well, like with what? Like
anything. Obviously, you guys have to make lots of decisions together. You run a business. You're in a marriage.
Well, Steve makes a lot of the decisions for the business. That's kind of his deal. That's when we got into working together. That was kind of our agreement, was he's the numbers, he's the business. I'm more like hire and fire, HR, deal with the employees, because I was a teacher forever. So those are our strengths. That's why it works, I think, so well. But, you know, there are the times when there's a conflict at work. And I think the best thing for us is like at work, we can't fight in front of the employees. And so, I mean, honestly, we just wait until we get home to hash it out and figure out what to do, because we can't do it at work.
But I do think like that from the beginning. I think what's helped us is that Ange has really taken that direction of like, hey, I'm going to handle with the personalities at work and let me handle the logistics of keeping that place open and running smooth. So I think when you put it in two different buckets, then you kind of know, okay, you know, hey, that's your job. This is my job. That is tremendous, because we are stepping on each other's toes, it would have never worked out. So I let her run with it. And obviously, there's questions that come up in both areas, but there's some things that I've done where Angie's like really opposing for years. She opposed one big thing I did with the company. I just chipped away at that rock, and eventually got it. It took about 7 years, but, then it worked out. And then she sees, it worked out and he was right, but so, I mean, there's some battles you just, you don't want to die on, that hill. So you just kind of let it go. And then slowly but surely, hopefully you see each other's point.
And eventually you'll get your watermelon farm. Right.
Right. That's right.
Well, what about conflicts at home, that doesn't have to do with the business? Like, how do you guys, how has conflict evolved in your relationship over time?
I don't know.
We do go for the jugular, though.
Yeah.
When we fight, we go for the jugular, like at each other. But we haven't had like a lot of those, to be honest with you. I think maybe like 3 the entire time we've been together.
Yeah.
Like full on drag out, going for it. And then we end up being fine. And to be honest with you, then we made a baby because of one. Because we were in a big fight.
Yeah, that's right. That weekend.
We were going for jugulars that weekend and then made up. And then, once we calm down, because we're both like so crazy, but once we, I think, have time to simmer down and actually to speak like normal levels, and you actually hear the other person for once, like then we were fine. And we like actually saw each other's their point of view, and then we made a baby.
Do you guys know the difference of how healthy couples fight and unhealthy couples?
I mean, I just know from my past relationship, it was unhealthy.
Yeah.
But I don't know the difference, to be honest with you guys.
But there was a study done with 2,000 couples. Couples rated their relationship as happy, healthy, or unhappy and unhealthy. And they are trying to see if there was a difference between the two groups and how they fight, right? And when the results came back, they found that there was no difference. That happy, healthy couples fight exactly the same way as unhappy, unhealthy couples. They yell, they scream, they throw things, they slam doors. Maybe frequency, there was a little bit more of that happening. But really the only difference was that happy, healthy couples made repair attempts. They came back later after the fight. They took responsibility for, their part in it. They apologized, and they tried to make things different.
They don't typically make a baby out of it, but
right.
So good job.
That must have been quite a fight.
And quite a night.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're probably going to name her Serenity or something like that, right?
The little cottage we stayed at had a fireplace too.
Wood burning?
Yeah, it was. And Ange kept complaining because it smelled like, like wood in there, burning wood. She's like, gosh, when we left the next morning, she's like, we got to get out of here.
It smells like a campfire.
Yeah.
So how is your guys' relationship similar or different from your parents? And what did you learn as children growing up about relationships?
Well, ours is very different. And that's actually one thing that I told him when we met was like, because my mom ended up cheating on my dad, and my mom had 2 divorces by the time. So like I have a dad and a stepdad, and she's still single. So that was something I didn't want to do, and, it's through the years, we both change and like things get crazy, but like, I'm still happy to be married to him. But I knew I didn't want to go down that same path that like my parents did, especially with kids now. It's like, that sucked. Like, I don't want to have to do that. But that was my biggest thing.
And my biggest thing was my parents were at each other's throat all the time. And my mom was really the conflict starter in it all. And my dad was miserable. He loved us kids. We had 12 kids in my family. So he loved all the kids. And we were really close.
See, that fighting makes those babies.
Apparently. There you go. Yeah, now that I think about it. So, my dad, I know, even as a little kid, I knew my dad was so miserable and being with my mom. And I always thought, man, I don't know why he didn't leave my mom a long time ago. But he'd stay with them, Catholic tradition, just stay together and deal with it. But he was unhappy. And I vowed to myself, even as a little kid, I said, I'm never going to be in that situation where I'm just unhappy with my life and with my wife and everything. And I mean, my mom made my dad give up all his things he liked to do. He liked to hunt, and he liked to go golfing, and all those little things that he liked to do in his life, she made him get rid of. Just kind of broke him down over the years. And so I saw that as a little kid, and growing up, I realized I'm never ever going to put myself in that position where, my wife or girlfriend's going to make me do things that I don't want to do. And so I've just kind of lived that way. And luckily I found, Ange, where she lets me be free and doesn't really get involved unless it's going to hurt our family. That's what I think is most important to me from my childhood.
That's awesome. You're talking about being free. How do you guys, kind of encourage each other when it comes to your own hobbies and, things that are interests of each of yours?
Well, like Steve with his flying, that's a big deal. But he's also kind of making it a business, it sounds like. So I don't know. I know he loves to do it. Doesn't really matter. We just have to figure it out work-wise for the most part lately, which we've figured out. But I don't really think a whole lot about it. He just wants to do it, so he does it. It's fine. I don't really have any hobbies. My focus the past few years was to work out and lose weight. We just kind of let each other do our thing at the time. So
how much quality time would you say you guys spend together? And quality time is defined as one-on-one interaction without anybody else around, no screens either, right? Just the two of you. If you were to total in hours per week.
Almost every day.
I know, a lot.
Yeah, every day.
Every morning we hang out for coffee and stuff like that and have really intelligent conversations. And then at night...
You're shaking your head, no.
At night, hang out. Now it's a lot of quality time, because basically I'm not doing anything. And if he's flying, then that's the only reason. Otherwise, we're home just making dinner together, hanging out.
Yeah.
Getting ready.
Yeah, it's probably more quality time lately, ever since she got pregnant, than ever before. Because before we were out with friends a lot. So, it's not the one-on-one time. So any of the downtime that normally we have now would be out with people or having people over at the house, doing barbecues, things like that. So it wasn't as much, but the past 6 months,
so much,
probably 2 hours a day on an average or more.
So much.
That's gosh, almost 16 hours a week.
Wow.
It's
and you work together on top of it. It's a part-time job.
Actually, we don't really work together physically anymore. We're pretty much we've been separate on that for a couple of years. Because I'll work at night, he does not work at night. And then if we work during the day, that gives the other person a chance to have the day off and go do things that they need to get done. So we really don't physically, we're not there together a whole lot, which also I think works. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, because then you get your alone time as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The 16 hours of together time is later.
Just so you know, the minimum amount of time couples should be spending together is 5.5 hours a week. So you guys, rock stars in that area.
Nailed it.
This might be a kind of rhetorical question, but how has intimacy changed for you guys over the years in your relationship?
Well, the pregnancy is not helping.
Well, when you talk about intimacy, you were talking about emotional intimacy, affection, non-sexual affection, that sort of thing. Has it changed for you guys over the years?
I would say for a little while it did, but I think now it's better. I think there's a rough patch there for a little while, I would say.
Yeah, I think we experienced it was a rough patch because I don't know. I think I just was upset because Andrew was going out with her girlfriends a little too much, throughout the week, things like that. And I kind of got a little resentful to that. So I think during that period of time, there was definitely the intimacy wasn't there as much as it should have probably been. But it was just because I wasn't attracted to that, that lifestyle.
How'd you guys resolve that?
Well, he would tell me. We talked about it. Definitely voiced his opinion after a while. And then, I don't know.
Did you feel like there was an issue, Ange?
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way too, just like I wanted to go out. I don't know why, I was not really here. So I don't really know why, to be honest, but I don't know. We were just, maybe it was work. I don't know. I have no idea.
How long ago was that?
A couple years ago.
Yeah, about a couple years ago.
And that was after you guys decided that you were just going to live the dual income, no kid thing?
Well, we were living, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but that was, we decided that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was before that. So it wasn't related to.
No, I kind of think it was. I just think it kind of evolved to that where you're like, hey, now we're just committed to not, never going to have kids and let's just, kind of live our life and maybe party and, too much, I think,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the thing. There's definitely a lot of partying going on.
And then I got into flying and, getting my commercial license and all that. It changed my focus where hers didn't change,
Well,
so.
I didn't have one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I didn't have something. I mean, I was working and then he'd be gone doing stuff and I'm like bored. So I go out. I don't know what else
So I
to
think
do.
that's kind of what I resented the most is just, here I'm working, studying and passing all these tests and going through these really highly critical phases of my life. And here she's just out with the girls getting sloshed every night, and I just, it just pissed me off, honestly.
Would you say that was like one of the biggest challenges you guys have gone through?
Oh, by far, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. In the 17 years. Yeah.
And so you guys took some time and talked about it. How did you really get to that resolution?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think things just kind of settled down, and that helped, me because she wasn't going out as much with her girlfriends, and then that kind of stabilized things at the home front.
Yeah, I think when he finally had time to tell me, like in a calm way, what was bugging him, I did cut back, like on going out.
We definitely talked about it,
definitely.
I mean, I drew the line in the sand a couple times, because it got to the point where I couldn't cope with it. And eventually I think, I don't know. Eventually maybe that just kind of slowed things down a little bit, then things started getting better at that point.
It's kind of an interesting thing. I think that we've seen couples, like there's different scenarios where it really is a problem, and like how their relationship with alcohol is one of them. So if they're the same, it's okay. But if like one drinks and one doesn't, that's really tough. Or I think that's even harder than like different religions. Like couples that have different religions is easier to navigate than their relationship with alcohol. Is there any other differences?
Or with friends, going out and partying with friends. That's always a very difficult thing to navigate too. And like friendships, like how do you guys manage that? Friendships with, same gender and friendships with opposite gender.
I mean, we're pretty much friends with all the same people. I mean, my girlfriends, he's friends with, they come over and we barbecue. I mean, even still, I don't really have guy friends.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
I
have friends, guy friends, but my main crew is like the girls.
You have like acquaintances that are guys.
But she has guy friends a lot from back home in Illinois.
Oh, like back home,
a lot.
But like it's weird because it's just like, okay, yeah, we're Facebook friends, and if I'm in town and it works out, cool, like, we'll hang out. But I don't know, like day to day where I live.
But I don't mind, like I'm sure some people get all weird about, I don't want her talking to any guys or guys from the past, and I really don't. None of that bothers me at all. It never has. Mm-hmm. Just because I trust Ange. Like she's not going to do crazy stuff with guys, Her girlfriends, they're crazy. but like, some girls that get a little too wild, I do have problems with that, and, those girls maybe be going through things in their life that kind of, wild and crazy because they're going through stuff. And I think that, if they wrap Ange up in that world, then that's concerning.
Well, the one friend that I was been really good friends. She was the first friend I made when we moved here up to Wildomar. And she was one of those girls, she's got some other dude on the side and it's all she ever talked to me about. And after finally 10 years or something, I distanced myself from her anyways. And so we haven't been friends in 4 years or something now. So, and she's still doing the same thing, whatever. But, and then he's got a million friends, of course, guys and girls, whatever. But I don't really worry about any of it. It's not even a thought in my head. I don't even care.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and moving forward now and starting a family, right? This is a very different shift than what you've been used to in your life. Do you guys have any concerns? Do you have any, I guess some concerns and things you guys are trying to think about and figure out together?
Well,
kind of the same thing at work. I think couples are going to still fight and things, and we're going to be exhausted and we're going to be everything everyone's telling us, apparently. But I don't want to fight in front of her, just like at work. I want her to see us have healthy discussions to figure things out. But I don't want her to see our jugular fight, if we have one in the next few years or something that I don't know. But I don't want her to think that that's a normal thing either. But we don't fight that much. So
I think that, those things happen. And I think it's okay for kids to see that you can resolve conflict and that you can lose it sometimes. I think the most important thing is coming back and taking responsibility for it and showing the full process.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people see the fighting, but not the resolution.
Sure.
So,
sure.
That's important.
But Steve, do you have any concerns?
Yeah. My concern, obviously initial concerns, just the just getting through the infancy part, because that's really stressing me out right now.
It's stressing both of us out.
Yeah. If the kid could come out 2 or 3 years old, that's perfect. Because I don't
think it'd be perfect for Ange.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Hey, Mom, what's for breakfast? But, I think that's the big, right now, initially, the infancy is really stressful because I know it's going to be a lot of time, hands on deck time. And I don't like that, because I don't have a lot of time to deal with stuff like that. But then moving on though, the only other concern is just, I really just hope she's good girl, smart, successful, marries the right guy. If she's going to marry, a guy or whoever she gets with, that's my biggest concern is how she's going to be. Not, after she's 18, that I just want her to be a good person. And, you just see so many kids out there now. We see them all the time at work and they're just going nowhere or they're dating these losers. And I just don't want that. So that's my biggest concern is the infancy and after she's 18.
There's a lot in between going
because because
a lot of time
2 to 18, I think that'll be the fun stuff, not too serious stuff until, it's just a lot of building that foundation. So hopefully we do a good job.
Well, we'll definitely have to check in with you from time to time.
Yeah.
There's some terms that they call some of the parenting that leads to that. And, you guys probably have heard of helicopter parents where they, bubble wrap their kids. And then there's the lawnmower parents that go and mow down any obstacles. And so you really want your daughter to have some stuff that grows some muscle, to be challenged and have that discipline. That's a really important piece. Kids aren't wanting to get driver's licenses anymore.
Sure.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. So weird. Well, I'm hoping and gambling that just teaching and dealing with middle school kids for 8 years and then seeing them a little bit older. Now we're dealing with, 16 to 25-year-olds and their parents and how they've turned out. I've seen the middle school, then I've seen post-middle school now. And I'm hoping that, that, for example, that one kid, your mom filled out your application? Like, really? I go, you're 19 years old. I go, that is disgusting. You need to fill it out. Like, that is horrible. Yeah. And why is you doing that for you? And why are you allowing it? You know, so I'm hoping that all those things help when we're raising her, you know. And
I think a big thing that parents mess up is they don't invest enough in their relationship, in their marriage. And then they make the child almost their partner. They aren't treating their child like a child. They're treating them like an equal.
Okay.
And they don't spend any time together as the parents.
They espouse their child, right? They give them actually a lot of power to make decisions and, you know, for themselves, right? And the fact that you guys have a pretty strong cornerstone in your relationship there, you know, is going to be a really good feather in your cap in raising your daughter, right? Because you guys are modeling, you know, appropriate roles.
Thank you.
I got something good.
We were talking to this one couple, and I think their kids were like 17, their oldest. And even for their anniversary, they're like, well, they like lobster too. So we bring them out for dinner for our anniversary. Like, their kids were at everything. They had never gone on vacation without their kids. Nothing. It really is good to use your village, you know, to have your siblings have good relationships with your kids and, you know, friends. And
if I read between the lines, I'm hearing Piper can come to
absolutely
Uncle Ray for a week.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to go see Auntie Jean and Uncle Ray. We'll be back when you're 2.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
There's a statute of limitations, you know.
So you're not part of the village?
You know, it's kind of cool the way kids are, because, you know, when they first arrive, they don't do too much. And you don't want to do too much either. You're recovering from giving birth and stuff. So you kind of lay around for a month or so or 2 months. And the more you're ready for them, the more they develop. So I know the first couple of years might be scary, but I think it gets worse when you're on their schedule. Like, at least before they're in school, you can take them, you can do what you want. But once they have like activities and school and stuff, you're like, oh, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Sounds promising.
Steve's diversified.
Yeah, you know, all the stages are fun. They're just different. Yeah, you lose a lot of sleep in the beginning and, you know, in the teenage years.
And, you know, as long as you maintain that balance in your relationship and, you know, feed the relationship as well as, you know, be there for the family, then you guys are going to continue to grow together too, right? Because we see couples, they just focus all their attention on the kid, and then their relationship just starts to deteriorate. So this is just a challenge of starting a family.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
What is something that your partner has said to you that, you know, was really helped you grow or change in your life?
I mean, well, I can probably answer. Like, I think Angie's coached me a lot in my behavior as far as like to other people, things like that. You know, I was in construction for almost 20 years, and it's a ruthless, you know, kind of in the field. You know, I wasn't really in the office, so I didn't really have the office PR skills. But so coming into different business and you're dealing with a lot of people, a lot of different personalities, things like that. It's not so like dictatorship, like on the job site. You know, you say, I'm the boss, you do this, and they say yes. With their head down, they do it. You know, now it's a little bit of more, you know, hand holding, I call it, or dealing people using cotton gloves, I call it. You know, just so she's taught me that, you know, to take it easy, a little bit more, and not be so authoritative in my.
Well, there's a balance.
Yeah, and
yeah.
So now that's been huge, and over the years she's really helped me with that. So, and I don't know if I'm getting any better at it, but definitely I feel that she's taught me a lot. You know,
he's gotten better at it. He's gotten better.
So that's been huge to helping me succeed and grow, and I've been able to do a lot more because of it in everything. You know, my various entrepreneur activities and relationships outside of ours. So that's been huge. And I'm thankful for him to you know, kind of guiding me that way.
I guess I would say, you know, I definitely have had to really pushed my brain limits with opening this business. And whenever Steve, he's so good with business and, whatever. It took me a while for the full liquor thing at the bar, whatever, but there's a million other things that he does. And I don't know, I think he helps me think that direction. I've never had to do that before. I've always been just like corral the kids, teach them this subject and let's move on. And I've had to definitely, even though he doesn't see it probably a whole lot, I've had to step out of my little box and I've learned a lot from him, that's for sure. And just thinking ahead and trying to predict how to solve a problem before it gets too bad at that work, mostly I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I've ever wanted to do something or try something or go somewhere, he's let me do all that. He's always supported. Like a little stint with guitar for a hot second. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've definitely learned a lot from his little business brain that he has.
Last question. What is it your partner does that you know they love you?
Well, I can tell you something really stupid.
You can go first.
That James does, but I know that she's in love with me that day. Because when we're fighting, she doesn't do it. She probably doesn't know that. But every morning when I'm brushing my teeth, she smacks me on the ass. Just one smack.
Well, he stands there with just a t-shirt on and no pants. So it's like, that's what I'm looking at.
Kind of asking for it.
So, and I know it's stupid, but I always think to myself when she does that, I'm like,
oh my God, that's one of the things.
So little things she does, It's pretty funny. Well, like, Ange doesn't like flowers or stuff like that.
I don't do stuff like that. So, like, he's not going to get me things like that. And when he doesn't get me flowers, I know he loves me because he knows I hate them. Maybe that.
One of the things you said, one of the things you said in the beginning was that you knew he would take care of you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that every day. Like, I don't worry. I honestly have never worried about that. Like, and even all the hard times we had to lose houses, lose cars, be moving here or there and everywhere. I always told him I'm not worried about it. We'll figure it out. Like, I know he's going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he still does that. So yeah, that's something I won't have to worry about for me or for our kid forever. I know that.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, it's a great answer. Guys, we really want to thank you very much for being on the podcast. This has been a pleasure for us. It's always a fun time when we chat with you guys.
People have been telling stories for thousands of years to bond and to heal and to grow. And we hope that by you guys sharing your story, it enriched your lives and the lives of our listeners.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast again. For all of you listening, if you have any questions or topic suggestions, again, please feel free to leave a comment or look us up online at couplesynergy.com. Until next time, synergize your life, synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.